A lot of people have been waiting on this video for a long time. This story is basically about me. This is my testimony. This is my story. How I became Chelsea today, what happened to me, how it shaped me, how I got over things. Of my story as I see it today is when I was 6 years old and I was supposed to go visit my dad for a few weeks. And my dad and his wife. And yeah, it was great. I had my own room. They were nice to me. They bought me things. They took me places. It was great. But I still missed my mom. And that was crazy because I wasn't really with my mom, even though I lived with my mom. My mom had her own things going on. And at a young age, I could tell that. So I cried when she told me, "You're just going to visit him for a little bit. I'm going to be back and get you." And I remember crying. I didn't want to go. And so the few weeks were up and I was ready to go home. Like, we had a good time, but I'm ready to go home. And she never came. And school started. And it kind of was like, "Where you at?" You know, Jennifer Hudson. And she never came. So my dad had to go through a bunch of hoops to get me into school. And I ended up staying. And things were, like I said, they were good. And I was used to a certain type of lifestyle when I was with my mother. I didn't really do good in school. I had behavioral issues. I remember getting in trouble, having my mom called. And that was just the way things were. My mom would talk to me, but it wasn't nothing serious, you know. That's how things were between us. With my dad and my stepmother, trouble where? So I remember getting in trouble and my second grade teacher calling my parents, and they set up a meeting. And I wasn't used to that. And of course, you know, I got in trouble. And I was acting out to go home. I felt like if I act out enough, they'll send me back. And that wasn't the case. And that day, my stepmother told me something I'll never forget. She told me, "You're here with us now, and we care about you, and we're going to do right by you. So if you think that you're going to act out, it's not going to work. You're still going to stay." And I remember that is to this day. And I commend her for that. And basically, I had to pull up my grades. It was no going outside to play until your homework is done. You get home, you do your homework. That's what's going to happen. You will not be talking in class. You will not be disrespectful. You will not do all those things that you're used to doing in this house. And that hurt me. And it was kind of like, I don't know about that. But I got it together quickly because my parents did believe in grounding, taking away things. And I was not used to that. So I stayed. And I met some good friends, and I lived in a great community. I went to a good school. Things were good. Me and my stepmother, we had a great relationship. Things were good until I hit 12. Well, before then, also, I felt resentment. I felt like things that other girls were doing with their mothers, I didn't have the opportunity to do. Of course, I had my stepmother, but it wasn't like the same. You know, you still feel inhibition when it's not your parent. And I resented my mother for that. And I felt like, why was I not good enough for you to come back and get me? Why didn't you want me? What happened? What makes you not want your child? And I carried a lot of hurt and anger around. And I didn't talk to anyone about it. I just held it in. And I kind of felt unwanted, throw it away. And that really sticks to a person. It sticks. So I closed people off. Don't need any friends because what I thought in my mind was that people that care about me will eventually hurt me. If I let you in and you leave me, that's going to hurt me. So I tried to, stick to myself. My personality is flamboyant. So people seem to be drawn to me, but I would keep them at bay. Wanted to join sports teams and do things, but also didn't want to be bothered. And it came to a point where my relationship with my stepmother suffered. I felt like she doesn't know what I'm going through. She doesn't know how I feel. What's the point? I didn't get what she was doing. I didn't understand that the things that she did for me was out of love, out of protection. And it didn't take for me to, it took for me to become a parent. It took for me to leave and go to the military for me to understand those things. I did not date while I was in my parents' house. They said no. They were not down for it. My stepmother had my stepsister young, so she was very protective over me, and I appreciate that. So when I left, when I was 18, when I graduated, when I went to the military, it was a new thing to be dating people, to be talking to somebody, to be doing my own thing, going somewhere, coming back when I want to be grown. And it was kind of like there were guys that liked me, and it was kind of like, you think I'm cute, you think I'm smart, you think I'm funny. But none of that really stuck with me because my parents always told me that. So it was nothing that a guy could tell me to get into my pants. And then came Chad, my husband. And we weren't really liking each other at first because kind of took his position. And he was a little salty with me, and me and my best friend would say, oh, he's high risk. He's always talking to somebody else. We would never talk to him. And we ended up going to the same duty station, and we ended up connecting, and we were friends, and we were really good friends. And I remember talking to Chad about a guy that I was trying to get back with back home. And I was talking to him about it all the time. Like, oh my God, can you believe what he said this time? Can you believe he said this? He doesn't want to be with me. And Chad got to the point of, why are you always talking to me about him? Why are you always trying to give him a second chance? Why not give me a chance? And I'm like, I don't know about all that. So Chad made an ultimatum. Give me a chance or we can't be friends. Like, I understand where he was coming from. Why would I want to sit there and hear him talk about some girl if I had feelings for him? And so I gave him a chance. We went to a movie and a dinner. And the ultimatum was that if it goes well, I think about dating you. If it doesn't, we're not going to talk about it again. And in my mind, it wasn't going to go good. So I was just going to let him go on his date. And then I was going to keep talking about my ex and try to get with him. And it actually went great. And we ended up dating exclusively, whatever that means, right? So our relationship took off fast. And I felt like that happened because I wasn't really in a serious, committed relationship with someone else. Like, yeah, I'm an ex, but we went to the movies. He sat on the couch at my house. That was about it. It was nothing serious. So Chad proposed to me a few months after we started dating, and it was really fast. And I told him no because it was too soon. But I also felt like being in the military, you are alone. You don't really get the chance to see your family, to be around your family. So I took him up on his offer. I said, yes, we'll get married. Little did I know, Chad did not have all of his loose ends tied up from his previous life. So that was drama that we had to do. Drama that was unnecessary, I believe. If we would have waited for a little bit, it could have been figured out. It could have been fixed. So, of course, I told my father that we were married, and he was upset. I was 18. He was very upset, and he didn't talk to me for a while. So, like I said, I was going through drama with Chad, a lot of drama. And it was basically over an ex still wanting to be with him and him not knowing what he wanted to do. And then I found out that, hey, all this stuff is going on, and you really have nobody to talk to right now. Like I said, my father was still upset with me, and eventually he got over it a few weeks later. He was kind of like, okay, you're married. You did it. What really hurt him was that I didn't tell anyone that I did it. I just did it, even though he told me to wait. And my father being my father, he will support me through anything, but he's going to tell me how he feels. So, got married. Drama's going on, and kind of like, maybe we shouldn't have did this, should have waited. But then there are other people telling me, it could work out, you can do it, pray about it. Then I find out I'm pregnant, and we're still going through drama. And so I didn't want to tell anyone because at this point my father had just started talking to me again, and it was kind of like I didn't want to risk where we were in our relationship to tell him that. And I still felt alone. And I felt like my marriage is possibly about to end and it hasn't even started. And I told my father. I told my father how I felt. He knew the situation that I was in, and my father just told me that you're going to have this baby because that's what you're talking about. We don't do that in this family. If you need help, we'll help you. We'll get you through it, but you're not going to have an abortion. And if you give it up for adoption, that's going to kill you. It's going to hurt you. You're not going to be able to take that. And he was absolutely right. So, multiple people had things to say. That's not your baby. You don't know her. Get an annulment, get divorced. A lot of noise everywhere. And from that pregnancy, I was not able to go to everyone's school anymore. That was my goal. That was my dream. Obviously, you can't do that if you're pregnant. So I felt like the one thing I wanted to do in the military, I can't do. My parents are distant because I pushed them away. I didn't talk to my friends because I had my own drama going on and they had their own drama going on, and that's just a crappy time. You know, when you're newly out of school, newly out of your house, everybody's got their own thing trying to find themselves. And I just felt like everybody would be better off without me. I was so depressed. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to go anywhere. I was ignoring text messages, ignoring calls, pregnant, this growing baby that I felt no attachment to. I wasn't happy about it. I felt like a failure. And I really felt like if I become a single mom, I'm really going to be a failure because people are so judgy. And I decided that I didn't want to be here anymore. Everybody would be better off without Chelsea. And so I decided I'm going to take my life. I'm going to hang myself. And it didn't work. Thank God, right? It didn't work. And I ended up being hospitalized for a few days because I was suicidal. And in that moment, I was still thinking, oh my God, people are going to think something is wrong with me. People are going to, judge me for trying to commit suicide. People are going to talk about me. People are going to think I'm crazy. And, and then you can't have any phones. You get some time to talk on the phone on the wall, but you can't have a cell phone. So you're like disconnected from the outside world. And I was like 8 months pregnant. So I'm in there in a gown, because at first you go here in a gown. And I'm waddling around. I'm in pain because obviously I'm going to have my baby soon. I was already having complications with my pregnancy because of stress. And I think it was good for me to go in there, actually. It was very peaceful. I didn't have to hear anybody talk and mess. I didn't have to deal with the drama that I had going on. I had time to think, time to get things into perspective. And it was at that point in time that I just was like, okay, if this marriage doesn't work, it doesn't work. We tried. I love him. He loves me. We probably weren't meant to be together. I'll be a great mom. My family helped me. I'll be okay. I'm worth something. I'm worth being here. People care about me. It would really hurt other people if I left. Okay, so I'm going to suck it up. I'm going to get back out there. And I'm going to do what I have to do. So needless to say, I came out of the hospital after a few days, renewed in my spirit. And we just felt like we would give it a go. We would give our marriage a go. We would really try. We would put aside other things. We would make a choice. Either you're going to be with me or you're not. And he made the choice to be with me. And, Chase came early. He came on Christmas Eve. And from there, we just gave it a try. And before that, our issues were, we were very abusive to each other.